Right then, welcome back. Here we are. So, regular viewers will probably notice we had a bit of a stand-in last week. Yeah, I'm going to start with a massive thanks to Victoria for actually coming out here to the garage and filming her own TeamPrawnRacing video. Yeah, she's awesome though. She didn't want you guys to go a week without a video. So, as she promised, here I am, back in the garage. So today I'm going to be remaking the shift cable bracket. So I'm going to jump back into that and you'll see where I got to. I'm going to carry on today, hopefully get it finished, hopefully have enough to make a video. So today I'm going to be taking this gear cable bracket, hopefully cutting it, re-welding it in some way to allow my shift cables to sit a bit nicer. Right, so for the sharp-eyed among you, I have already unbolted the bracket. But as you can see, both of these kind of come in to the bracket on quite an angle, quite a sweep. So if I take that one out, where it really wants to sit, if I can actually get it out one-handed, where it really wants to sit is over there, somewhere like that. Same applies to that one. It actually wants to sit further this way and straighter. So we're going to see what we can do. Rather than cut up this mount, which is already on the car, I put up a wanted post and I've actually ended up with two, which is pretty cool. So I got this one from Dave Ward locally, and also absolute legend Tom Dean, Speeding Tube, sent me this very clean one. What I'm going to do, chop up some brackets, make some plates up, see if I can get them sitting a bit nicer, a bit more squarely, see if we can eliminate some of the clunkiness I've had on gear changes in recent outings. So, I've chopped out the bare centre of the bracket, so that is the bracket that holds the two cables, no mounts to the engine whatsoever. I've got this side of the bracket which mounted to the box, and what I've done, I've actually added a 15mm steel spacer. I've welded that internally around there and then just ground it back. Not the most beautiful job, but it's done. So I'll show you how this is going to work. Where it originally sat was where that bracket was straight over there and round like that, and as you can see it's dead tight on the gate and it's got quite a bend to it. So what we're doing, we're bringing the whole lot over this way so it sits more squarely. So that is now a much better bend there, and what I need to do is hold that in place and tack that, then take it off the car and weld it up. I think that's where we're going. I forgot to turn the gas on, didn't I? Muppet. Well, that was pretty grim. Look what happens when you forget to turn the gas on. Not too horrendous, bear in mind I am not a welder. Right, so what I've made next is this. Instead of picking up on the old gearbox stud here like the old one did, I'm going to pick up on this threaded hole in the box like some of the other style do. So this is going to sit approximately there, like that. So I'm going to get a bolt in there, get that where it wants to sit, tack that on and then whip it off, weld it up fully and grind the rest off. One thing I definitely don't say often enough on the channel is a big thanks to Andy AP for the welder. It's not mine, I do own a welder, I've owned it since I was 12, so it's 22 years old now. It's well beyond its best and needs a fair bit of work. Andy lent me his Sabora boxer, which is pretty awesome, and suddenly my welding got better. Not saying a bad workman blames his tools, but got to be some truth in it. So I've got a bit of light in there now. The cross plate there is bolted in firmly and it's touching the bracket really nice and tight, so I'm going to tack it from here, weld it up fully, whip it off and cut the over length off in the back rather than spend ages trying to get a perfect fit up. I think that's it. 2 tacks, we'll whip that off, weld it up fully, and double check it fits. So that's welded up. Obviously I've got the overhang. I have welded the back even though it's all getting cut off. I just wanted to get some penetration right into the weld. So we're going to cut that off flush at the back, weld it up nicely, linish it all off, and then maybe tidy up the bracket at this side. Right, last bit's in there, that bit. I'm just going to fit that up there, tack it on the front, and take it off, weld it from the back, and grind the front. Deal. Right, well, there you go. That is dropped on, all fits really nicely. I didn't actually do the neatest job of welding this side because I was going to grind it back, but now it's on, I've test fitted it. I don't see any real gain from grinding it back. So I'm going to clean it up, etch prime it, get some satin black on it, and move on to the next job. Right, so I've got a little bit of paint on the bracket. I've also modified the other shift bracket, the shift lever, got a bit of paint on that as well. And whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to be doing this. I'm sure some of you will remember, shout out to Racing Mentor there, I'm sure some of you will remember that I ripped this trim off from the skirt when a little bit of contact with Ben Gundry. So, new piece of alley, cut, slide it in.
Early the next morning.
So, you join me on Sunday morning. For you it's probably been about 3 seconds. For me, I've had a good sleep and some toast. Car's up in the air. We are going to get the side strip on the side skirt, get the car back down on the ground, and get the brackets which are hanging up, painting, drying over there. Get them back on and see how the gear shift feels now. And that's the last one. Well, that's the side trim back on. It looks 10 times better with that on. The car just kind of looks flat-sided without it. That's back on. I'm going to get it down off the jack and then get all these gear shift bits back on. So first to go back in is the gear shift lever. Now it may not be immediately obvious, but I've actually modified this as well. So I've been running on this middle hole. I previously drilled a hole for a shorter throw here, but when you had the line of the cable, it used to hit all of this reinforcing. So I've actually ground all of that back now, taken a load off it, so I've got room to run right onto this smaller hole here. So the new cable bracket, this is the old one, and this is a new one. So about half of them seem to connect to the gearbox bolt on the M8 stud with this little slide, and about half of them seem to connect via a longer leg. I decided to go with that so that all three are in the same plane, so I can just lift it up and drop it on. This one you kind of had to slide that on and then angle it on, and going to a solid mount here meant that was going to be a bit more difficult. Those bolt holes are lined up now. You can see that we've come across to the right about 1 inch and changed the angle quite a bit as well. Same applies for that one, that's come across and changed the angle. Old, new. Let's get this one in there. Right, I've done a test fit, and ironically, having painted it, I now want to make a couple of changes. So, the cables, for years, have always just slotted and dropped down into there. So there's been no positive retention, so to speak. However, there's a tiny bit of kind of back and forth movement in the bracket. So what I've done, typically after paint, I've drilled and tapped the faces here. So I can put it in, I can put a little Allen screw into those holes and actually tighten the cable end down. For the final time, let's get this in. Done. That is one extremely solid gear shift bracket. Right, it's cable time. 1, 2. Right, and there we go. So we've got 1 bolt in this side because this is super tight to the corner, 2 in this one, but there is now 0 play in any of that. We're going to get these cable ends bolted up. On this side, you can see that naturally wants to sit a couple of mil off. So I've got a little spacer on there, and that drops in there. And there we go. I've got oil on my forehead. One shift cable bracket, remade. It feels really good. I haven't driven it yet. It definitely feels sharper, it feels smoother front to back. I've shortened the front to rear throw slightly as well, so it feels really nice, and I can definitely tell the difference with the bracket finally solid mounted. Can't believe I hadn't done that a decade ago. I hope you guys will like this one. Bit of another garage techie one. Not quite up to Mrs. Prawn's delivery standards, but hey ho, we'll see what we can do in future. Have fun, take care. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.